Hi, how are you guys? I was not going to make a video today, but it ended up being a good day to make one. So a lot of things I want to talk about in this video. And first, going over how residency has been, because I said I would talk about that. And yeah, and then just my typical life talks, my venting journal sessions that I seem to do every time I'm on here, that I hope are helpful for your own journeys. And it's definitely been helpful for mine to just kind of process things, process this chaotic life. And yeah, so I started residency in June, and I had posted previous videos talking about what I went through with ranking programs and why I chose the one that I did ultimately about 30 minutes before we were supposed to submit the rank list. And I'm sure some of you want to know how, if I am happy with the decision that I made. And I can say definitely yes, it was the right decision. And you can go back if you want to understand what kinds of things I was processing at that time that made it so difficult, because I was choosing between two schools at the time and I had a really hard time letting go of the one that I didn't end up choosing. And ultimately I realized that I was choosing it mainly not for the right reasons, and for the reasons that were not bad. They were not things that I felt like I needed to prioritize at that time. So I can say that I do believe this was the right decision, and for the reasons that I chose it, which was the people was accurate. Everybody in my class has been so extremely helpful and kind. I can honestly say in my entire class, I feel like we do really support each other, and we want the best for each other, and we try to help each other out, and we have a really good camaraderie. There's not a single person where I think badly of or have some ill will towards, which, coming from the medical school that I did, that was not the case. I really was isolated from a lot of people because we didn't have the same worldview. So yeah, faculty attendings wise, there's definitely so many amazing people that are doing this for the right reason, which was again something that was completely absent in my medical school. There are definitely some people where I kind of question them at times, and I don't understand the logic behind some of the actions that they do in terms of teaching and patient care, but I have never once felt like somebody was doing this for the wrong reasons or because they didn't care. So that's amazing, and I think that is something that is special about pediatrics, which is why I chose it. So work-life balance is definitely a struggle. I think in fact, I know, which is really helpful because of all the sub-Is that I did the previous year, I thankfully have an inside look at other programs. And so when I have a really tough day, I come back to that it could be way worse. And it's really helpful because I know some people in my class don't have that, and I've actually gotten to talk to a couple of people about who had first choices that I ranked low, and they had not gotten to experience rotations there. And so sharing this information with them about how horrible my experiences were there has given them a lot of peace of mind. So I'm glad that I had that experience and that I had that thought my 4th year to do as many of those as I could. And so it's difficult to tell you about the work-life balance because it's definitely hard. But even on my worst days so far, I know that it's not as bad as other places that I've been pediatric wise, like sub-I's. The other programs that I were at were definitely not as good as where I'm at now. And comparative to my rotations at med school, there's no comparison whatsoever. My rotations at my med school were absolutely horrible. I still stand by that. When I think about it too long, I get very angry, and which is something I'm going to talk about later. So overall, the right decision. There are so many hard days. It is a lot of hours. It is very draining. I wish I had more time to myself. I wish I was less exhausted, but overall it was the right decision, and I am happy where I'm at. So if you guys have any questions like about the specifics of residency, I would be happy to answer those. So if you want to, since I don't have social media, like comment down below if you have any questions, and then I can make another video and address them, and I'm happy to address literally any and all questions that you have. I could go on and on about the specifics of my residency and residency in general, but I don't know how much of that would be interesting or pertinent to whoever watches my videos. So I will save that for another video. I just wanted to also kind of touch on where I'm at mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I've used YouTube as kind of a platform to track where I'm at in those regards, because I feel like it's really helped me to look back and see the growth or plateau in some ways. And it has also, like I've said, just been a good way for me to process my thoughts. And today was a good day to make this video because I had a day where I could just sit and process, and I've been having these feelings for a long time. I just haven't had time to really figure out what I want to do with them or what I need to do with them. So when I started residency, I was really, really reluctant to start. I wasn't very excited, and I think I was definitely still a little bitter and jaded by the system, which was disheartening because I felt very alone in that regard. When everybody was like getting their match results and like moving to their respective programs, I felt like everybody was so excited and just excited for this new chapter of their life. And for me, I didn't really buy into that because for multiple reasons. One, coming from our medical school, I would find it very difficult that anything could be worse than our experience. And I have videos on that explaining some of what happened. And then second, which is why I said I was isolated in medical school, because I didn't buy into the theory that everybody seemed to, that residency was a cure to fix all of my life's problems. I really fought that for the 4 years that I was there. And I kind of like grew sort of rebellious to it. Like I just hated the fact that people's life mission was to just get into a residency program. I felt like there was just so much more to life than acceptance, and I also am a firm believer that this was never going to be my entire life. Like, I have so many other things that I want to do, and a job is not the defining thing in my life. And so I had a really hard time getting commonality with people. And then third, the 6 months before residency, I had just the most healing, cleansing break from what had happened for the last 3.5 years. So much good, just good one after another. It was just truly a season of blessing. Obviously getting married, a lot of relationships in my family that were broken and a mess were healed during that period. It was just such a good time in my life, like the best, I think. So when I was starting residency, I was so scared, and I'm in this point in my life where emotion always turns into anger, always. And it's something new to who I am, because I've never been angry. I've always, for the most part, let things go pretty easily. And now, ever since starting medical school, I have this personality trait where I will get sad and kind of withdrawn, and then it will always go into anger. So I was kind of sad and reluctant about starting this new chapter because I didn't know what it was going to bring. I was excited about medical school and really hopeful, and just excited for the new change that was going to bring, and then it was quickly brought to reality. So I think I was just nervous and scared that this was going to be another experience that was going to be a little bit traumatizing, and because of the lack of trust I have in the medical system. So I really put my heels in the sand, and I was not excited about the experience, which is such a shame, because it's obviously such a blessing to be able to get my first choice, and to not to have choices, and to have a job, and to finally be at this place in my career that I've been working towards for so long. So so I definitely started off not on the best foot. Thankfully, I had an easy rotation, the first one, so I got to be angry without it being all consuming. So I just kind of noticed that I was like, my anger kind of settled at a place where I was more complacent and trying to get home as quickly as possible than being really like bitter, I guess. And then the next month was an extremely difficult month, and challenged me in a lot of ways. And that's where I really let my anger show forth in the people around me, and in my work. And it's hard. I know that I'm making it sound like I'm pretty awful, and internally it does feel like that on a lot of days, because I know my thoughts. And I will say that I don't let truly what I feel inside fully out. Like I'm not hurting anybody, obviously. I'm not yelling at people or anything like that. I just know my standard of how I want to be, and it's so high that anything below that I don't find it acceptable. And I know that's a bit extreme, obviously. I'm a perfectionist. I think we all are who do this to an extent. But yeah, I was not happy with how my attitude was that whole month, and carried over to the next month. And then I think when I had an easy rotation, easy in the sense where I at least had my evenings to myself, and I had some days where I didn't have to go in, that's where it started to kind of turn around, and I started to have more time to process my thoughts and where this anger is coming from. Still not doing anything about it. It was just more just me processing and having the time to do so. And then I had a hard rotation again and kind of went back to not being able to think about anything else except work, sleeping and eating. And then now this past month, I've had a break again where things have been a lot easier, and I think has led to this moment today where I'm finally had enough, for lack of a better word. So in order to not make this video extremely long, I'm not going to do the mental process justice, but I just came to the realization that I need to let go of the anger that I've been carrying for years. I've kind of been on this crusade of wanting the world to be just, wanting it to make sense, wanting it to be fair. And every single time it's not, I just keep building and building on the anger that I have. And the medical system is so easy to do that with, because I feel like every single turn I'm seeing something that just doesn't make sense and shouldn't be happening. And it just drives me crazy, because there's nothing that I feel like in this moment that I can do to actively change what I want to change. And especially working under somebody for so long, I just feel like my hands are so tied, and I'm the person where I need to do. I have to do something. I have to find a way to fix the problem. And I just, for like 5 or 6 years now, have felt like I have no control over anything. And I think it's just made me a really angry person. All the injustices and all of the horrible things that I saw to other people in my medical school program, and how my medical school treated us as students, how they kind of seemingly beat any good intention that I had about wanting to do this career out of me. It's for the 15th time, it's made me really angry, and I've kind of been living with it. And I have moments, and I have it controlled to the point, like I said, where it's not obvious. Like, I'm not being rude to people, I'm not hurting people, but I'm living this was my ultimate thought, I haven't lived passionately for a very long time. And I miss that. I miss waking up and being excited about what I'm doing, and I miss having ideas, and I miss wanting to be helpful and make changes and looking forward to things. And I haven't for so long, because even just an ounce of anger makes it physically impossible to be that way. And I've tried, and I can't live with it anymore, because it's sucking everything that I want for my life out of me. So my conclusion, and I'm using this as a marker for going forward, is the minute that I started putting my trust in this world instead of God, things started to go downhill. Because I started using this world as my standard instead of God. I started using people as my standard, using people wanting affirmation, wanting my actions to lead to a result, just wanting the world to make sense and not be a disappointment, and feeling like I was owed that and that it should be that way, and it's just not. It's not ever going to be, and I keep fighting it, and the only thing I'm left with is my own anger. And today was a day where I had to just finally let go and finally say that I'm ready to submit to you again and let you be the compass for my life, because whatever I'm doing, it's not working. And I feel like I'm in a haze, I'm a zombie, I'm numb, and I'm just going through the motions, and I don't want to live my life like this anymore. And I have to submit to the one who gives me fulfillment, who is the only thing that makes sense in this world. And I have to trust that through all of these things that don't make sense to me, that his plan is greater than mine. And yeah. So sorry that this video is probably not the update that you were hoping. But for me, this was a good day. First good day in a very long time. And I'm praying that I heal and I let go of this, and that I start living my life the way he intended it to be, and stop putting my faith and trust in people and systems that are flawed and will never live up to what I want them to be. So thank you for watching, especially if you watch to the end. I'm like, a lot of the time feel like I am talking to myself, but that's okay, honestly, because it really does help me process. So if you do have questions, especially about residency and all the specifics, I'd be happy to answer them, and just leave them in the comments below. But hope you guys are doing well. We'll pray for all of you and all of your journeys and all of the things that you're going through and trying to be better at. And yeah, thanks for watching.